Is that person drawing similarly to you? Kill them.
Now, where's Craig when you turn into like a dub stuff?
Kids don't understand that.
Jason!
Sorry.
Kids don't understand that.
Jason!
Wow, this is political propaganda.
Turn into like a dub stuff.
Jason!
Watching my exciting loading bar.
If you can't play well, play loud.
Turn into like a dub stuff.
I still know how to do it.
Kids don't understand that.
Jason! Is that person drawing better than you?
Turn into like a dub stuff.
Apologies to everyone watching. Jason!
Kids don't understand that.
Apologies to everyone watching.
Wow, this is political propaganda.
Drop the bomb.
Kids don't understand that. Welcome everybody.
Hello.
Live again.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Well, hi. It's been a while.
It has.
Uh-huh.
And there's work.
Yep, work.
You guys, I've been working on I did this little animation the other day on grease pencil and Blender.
Nice.
I have no idea Blender could do such amazing stuff.
Right?
Yeah. I'm getting excited.
Yeah, you should. Did you look up like the demos of what
Oh,
other people
yeah.
have done?
This, like, if I could have had this tool 10 years ago when I was doing my animation, it would have just made my workload so much easier.
I'm not that familiar with Blender. Tell me about it.
Well, it's a 3D program, so
I know that part. Yeah, so I'm surprised to see.
it's not really. I don't even know how to use the 3D part of it. But let's see. Well, I don't even want to give you a demonstration because I'd fail. I'd fail. But so it's great for 3D. It's all open source. It's all free. There's been movies made with it now, but they also have a 2D component to it where you can draw. But this is all in 3D space.
Mm-hmm.
If I could actually do something. I don't know any of the hotkeys, but this is just floating in 3D, and so you can just animate on any surface. You can animate on a ball. You can animate from any angle, so you can have full 3D animated drawings if you want to do that kind of work. But anyway, it's really good. I'm super pleased with it.
Cool.
Anyway, I'm gonna move on to something that I need to do.
Nice.
How you guys been? Everyone busy? Working?
Fine and dandy.
Yeah.
Pulled
Keep
a
it going.
140-hour work week.
140.
Only
Anybody doing?
140?
Yeah, right. If I could cut it down to 0 hours of sleep, that'd be great. But
Yeah, that's been my lifelong goal, actually. But yeah. It's never quite.
it is not sustainable, and I'm paying the price. So I don't recommend it. For those of you doing math, that's 4 hours sleep a night. So,
That's crazy.
and I did it. I don't know. It feels like I'm bragging, and I'm not. I don't. It was a poor decision.
So are you done with the episodes now of
No. No. So I've done 3 episodes of that, and I've got 2 left.
Okay. And that's what you're staying up working like crazy on?
Yeah.
Just nonstop. How's the response been so far?
Not great. Not awful. Nobody hates it, but
Yeah.
it's not.
Yeah, I understand. I get it. You put all this work into something, and then it's kind of like, yep, it's another thing that's there.
Yeah, and I don't know. We knew that this would happen. It's another romance in a vast sea of romance stories.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that I expected like to be the top, the top one on the site, but
Yeah. Oh, there's Mike.
Hello.
Welcome, Mike.
Hi. How's it going?
Hey, Mike.
You are more than welcome to share your screen while you're here, and I'll rotate between all of our screens as we stream. So.
Hey, man. It's Evan.
Hey. How's
How's it going?
I'm
Yeah.
good.
So Mike makes a comic called Side Quest, which is one of the series that's on Macroverse as well, and really fun. The thing I loved about it was it's like if in a kind of Dungeons and Dragons-esque kind of world,
Yeah.
what are the characters who are not really the main characters doing?
That sums it up pretty well.
Still trying to have adventures, so it's a lot of fun. And Mike, you're calling in from Switzerland, right? So we're
Yeah.
a global show this morning as well.
Awesome.
Thing for you. Yeah.
Switzerland. I'd love to go visit Switzerland. I went there when I was a little kid, and I don't remember it.
It's nice during the summer.
Oh,
Well, all year round is nice, but it's nice around here during the summer because when it's warm.
yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that's one of the few places. I mean, I want to go everywhere, but that's one of the places I really want to visit.
But it's pretty far off from where you are.
Yeah. Yeah, I gotta make big plans to do that one.
And yeah, I don't know if anyone's gonna be traveling much anytime soon.
Yeah, it's a little complicated. I need to do a little housekeeping right here. Thanks, Doran, for the $20. What?
Nice.
Jason, would you be willing to do some fan fiction comic of Middle Earth character for History of Middle Earth channel? I have to say I don't know too much about it or anything about it, so I'll have to look it up and I'll see what the workload is and see what you guys. So hit me up after the show. You can email me to coffeetablecomics@gmail.com and let me know what it's about. And yeah, but thanks for the super chat. We got Tobias here. Let's see who else. Who did we highlight? We got Jim O'Reilly. All the usuals. Richard Smith, Sean. There's Mia. And we have a question. How often do you live stream now? I'm just doing the Wednesday shows. I'm going to do one on next Wednesday as well. And then after that is questionable because I'm moving studios. I'm packing up. I've been here for 5 years, so I'm going to make some big changes. And so I don't know how long it'll take me to get back into the schedule. We also have a little mini vacation planned around that time, and so I don't know. It might take a month to get the studio set up to where I can do everything I want to do. Got another question here. I've seen you make word balloons with the lasso tool, and the shape automatically becomes white with a black border. How do you do that? It's look up stroke in Photoshop. Do a search for using the stroke tool, stroke effect. You can put a outline stroke around anything. You double click the layer. Actually, should I just show you? Man, why am I telling you to look it up? Look it up. That's why I'm live streaming, right? Okay, so let's just say this is my balloons.
I'm on screen right now.
What do you show them then? No, just joking. Okay.
I mean, I can, I guess.
So I just made a little lasso tool selection here. I got this thing called balloons. I'm gonna just fill it in white, right? So that's just basic. Any one of these layers you can double click on, and it shows up on my other screen. So if you double click on the art, on any one of these art pieces, you'll pull up this layer style thing, and you can just go click on stroke, and you can adjust the color to be black. You can do outside or inside. I prefer inside for word balloons. and then you can just make it like however thickness you want, 6 pixels thick. And now anything on that layer, if I can do it, anything you add to that layer will have that nice stroke around it. And the reason I like the inside is because on these points, it makes the points nice and thick. I mean, nice and sharp. If you do it on the outside, then it rounds that point. See, the points are rounded because it's on the outside of your selection. So anyway, that's how you do it. Hopefully that makes sense. I also have a, what do I have? A little, like one of my very first video tutorials was showing that. You can type in easy word balloons into YouTube and my tutorial should show up. Sean says you gotta do a studio tour once you switch. I will, somehow. Well, welcome, Mike. So tell us, I'll add you to screen. This is your art. This is Mike's artwork. And you said it was side quest on Macverse. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been doing comics? What's your art history? Well, not art history. What's your story?
Well, I started off as a 3D animator, like studying 3D animation.
Yeah.
But I was always much more interested in the drawing and design part of things. So eventually, after working a little bit as a 3D generalist, I went into studying hand-drawn animation.
Oh, yeah.
And then from there, that sort of opened up into doing illustration and animation. I worked in London for a little while. And while I was there, I sort of discovered SideQuest as a side project, which was originally just a bunch of cartoons or simple drawings just to pass the time and develop something on like develop a style already.
Yeah.
And then I actually kind of fell into comics. Like I didn't really grow up with comics, and I don't know a whole lot about comics, but it was like a good way to actually tell stories.
Yeah.
Because actually animating is just too much work.
Yeah.
I mean, I am discovering that comics is a lot more work than I thought it was, but it's a good way to actually tell stories and gags and jokes and stuff.
Yeah. And so you didn't start out drawing as a kid. It was more about doing 3D and computer animation.
Yeah, I mean, when I was small, I did drawing and I had art class and painting and stuff. But then as a teenager, I kind of stopped it all.
Okay.
And then picked it up with my 3D studies and got back into it and enjoyed it a lot more and really wanted to go back to learning to draw. So I took an animation course where we were drawing on paper.
Yeah.
And that really sort of helped me out drawing.
And when was that? How long ago was that?
Studies I finished, maybe 4 or 5 years ago?
Okay.
Yeah, 4 years ago. And then since then, I worked at a few local jobs around here. Then when I went to the UK, I worked at Simon's Cat, like the YouTube show.
Oh, okay.
As a cleanup artist and then an animator.
That's cool.
And then I made my way back to Switzerland, and now I work in a game studio part-time, and I do side quests the rest of the time.
Cool. What games are you working on?
Well, I mean, we do a lot of sort of what's called serious game and gamification. So it's clients that have certain information that they want to explain to people through interactions or through gameplay. So it's also smaller projects like that. But then we have a couple of indie projects that we work on.
Okay.
On the side. So I'm not sure it would have gotten around so much with these games.
Well, that's cool. Sounds like you're very well versed in a lot of different things, which is nice.
Yeah, I tried to. I mean, the starting out in 3D kind of helped because there you sort of had to learn all sorts of different skills to put together an animation. You know, between the actual 3D software, Photoshop, and then After Effects and Premiere Pro,
Yeah,
it's already quite a lot of stuff to do.
yeah, that's great. That's all really good
Yeah.
tools and skills to have.
Yeah. And then in terms of side quest, well, it started off as just sort of random cartoons that I did here and there. And that developed into doing more illustrations, like complex images. And it sort of coincided with when I started going to conventions, and people would ask me what side quest is, and I'm like, well, it's a webcomic. You know?
Yeah.
Logically, I don't know. This is kind of the only thing I could really respond to, because it was a bunch of illustrations which went together, and I would just be like, yeah, it's a webcomic. And then after about a year and a half, 2 years of pitching it as a webcomic to people, I actually started working on it as a webcomic.
Okay.
I spent a year sort of trying to backlog and developing the stories, and about a month before starting to release, I sort of changed the format and kind of started square zero almost. Because originally it was much more free form. There wasn't much of an overarching story. It was just different scenes that were here and there, and there was not much logic to the connection between the scenes. And then all of a sudden, a month before starting to release the webcomic, I was like, I should probably have more of a guided path sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
And then I sort of scrambled to put some pages together, and I've been sort of doing that now for about 8 months.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah, it's been fun. I mean, it's slowed down quite a bit lately, because it's making comics is really hard.
Yeah.
Which I'm discovering, but it's a lot of fun. Starting a new page is always the hardest part.
Yeah.
It is a lot of fun, and I think this is going to be a tall order of a comparison, but there's something about it that actually reminds me a bit of Bone in the way that you're kind of approaching it, where it's like it is a sort of, there's a kind of fun, amusing component to the story, but you can also kind of see that there's sort of a bigger world.
Yeah.
So
Well,
building.
it started off as purely me making fun of fantasy worlds.
Yeah.
So originally it was a lot more aggressive on the parody and making fun of things that I found were totally illogical in fantasy worlds and role-playing games and all these things. But then after a while, it just started developing its own world, actually. So it started becoming a little bit more serious, and having its own sort of lore in a way.
That's like One Punch Man.
Yeah, I don't know. I've heard of it. I've never watched it, or read it, but
Well, it's like it. Sorry.
It's a manga, that one, no?
Yeah. So basically, it makes fun of superheroes, and effectively, it starts that way, and then it becomes its own superhero story, and they kind of.
It's a guy who like beats any opponent with one punch. Is that it? That's the
Yes.
premise, no?
Yeah.
Okay.
I
have some friends who've read it.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of great parody actually does that, where it's like thinking like Galaxy Quest or even the Deadpool movies. Like they're making fun of the thing that they actually also are at the same time.
Yeah. Well, that's how Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles started. It was a parody comic.
Exactly.
A
love letter to Daredevil.
Yeah. And look at it now. Now it's taken over the world. Well, cool. Well, it's great to have you here, Mike. So just hang out, be a part of the conversation as much as you want, and I'll be cycling through your screen as we go, and we'll spend about 2 hours, and hopefully everyone can get to know you, and we'll post your links and all that stuff too before the show's over.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and if anyone in the chat has questions for Mike, feel free to write Mike in all caps and question, and we will try to get your question to him.
Yeah, I'll make sure I see them.
Let's see. Well, Zach, I feel like I didn't say hi to you. Good morning, Zach.
You kind of did.
I started talking to you.
work.
I didn't say hi though.
Your work.
How are
Hi.
you doing, Zach? Have you enjoyed your week off of the internet?
Oh, that was an interesting experiment, and yeah, no, I'm going to be doing that from now on, where it's just like pretty much stay off of any social media unless people absolutely need to contact me.
Yeah.
So that was I'm kind of taking your approach, where it's like, you have a Twitter, but it's only because you have to have one. I'm not on it. I'm not on it. So it's smart. That's what I'm doing, and I'm just focusing on getting this book done. And
Yeah.
Is Twitter really something that's kind of useful, or
Not anymore.
living under a rock here?
yeah, it's dangerous. Like if you, I don't know, it's like it's a catch-22. You use it to contact clients or other like-minded people, but at the same time you get bombarded with all kinds of content you don't want.
Yeah.
And
Kind of what Facebook is like.
yeah, that's it, exactly. I don't know why I don't have that issue with Facebook though. I just don't look at it.
Yeah.
I don't know, but Twitter was my go-to for like the past 2 years, so that was difficult to not. I was finding myself that I would type in Twitter like as a reflex. Like it was bad. I was like, what in the world? And so I had to force myself to log out. So anytime I would type it in, it would just bring up the login screen, and then it'd click in my brain like, oh wait, I can't do anything now, so I'd close the window.
Yeah.
And that's when you have a problem, when it's just instinctual. You don't even think about it.
At least you type it in. You don't have a button just to click to go there.
Yeah. It's just one of those things where I didn't realize how bad it had gotten. So I think that was a good thing I did. I watched the stream last week, by the way. I was lurking in the background.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, I was telling Eben offline or on email, and I guess I already said it in the stream, but next Wednesday will be probably the last one for sure.
Mhm.
So you guys will have to take over if you want to take this time slot and keep the stream alive.
I'm scared.
Anyone?
I can get it set up.
I mean, I
Why?
don't want to put any pressure on anyone.
Jason, I will talk to you about that.
Okay. All right. Because I'm always changing my strategies and stuff, and I am with the move to a new studio. I've reassessed a lot of things like that I've been doing since I've moved here, and I kind of want to start over in a lot of ways, like do something different. So I'm taking this time to kind of make the move, think about everything, kind of look at everything I've done on YouTube and make some changes and stuff. So see what's working, what's not. So we'll see.
Always
We'll see how it goes forward. The one thing I do like live streaming, but the one thing I don't like about it is everybody can do it now. And so there's nothing special about it anymore. If that makes sense,
Yes.
And so I don't know. I still want to participate in live streams, but I don't know if I want to be the host anymore. So we'll see, though. I don't know. I don't want to announce anything too soon. But it's definitely got a place, and it definitely works in certain situations. And
When you have live projects, it's really, really good.
when you have, yeah, exactly. Like the reason I started it this time was because of the campaign running. So I can see doing that in the future, specifically when I have campaigns or something. So, yeah, makes sense.
But we did kind of hit it hard once you started streaming, though. We were doing like these huge, like 6-7 hour streams.
Yeah, it was weird. I didn't think I'd ever go there, but it
I
happened.
think we did it a bit too hard at the beginning. Just a little bit.
Yeah. I tend to do that though. I get an idea and then I'm like, ooh, and then I just go for it and then I burn myself out on it. So,
It's when you get excited about it.
mhm. So let's see. So this is Golma. This is Zach's screen. Anybody watching? You can still get
That's
Golma, right? On Indiegogo, right?
Yep, it's
Okay.
still on
So,
in
do you
demand.
digital paint every single page of your comic?
Yeah.
Wow. Doesn't that take like a really long time?
It takes a lot less time than if I were to sit down traditionally,
Yeah.
pencil, ink, and then scan it and then color it.
Yeah.
I get like I can get 2 or 3 spreads. That's 6 pages done in a day on a really good day.
Wow.
So, you know,
That's fast.
yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty fast. I haven't come to terms yet with actual digital painting.
Yeah, no, it's really, really good if you, I don't know, it's one of those things, you know, you gotta learn it. And then
Yeah.
once it clicks in your brain, then you're just like,
Yeah, I think it's once you get your process down,
Mhm.
and you have a routine that you always fall back to, then
Mhm.
it goes a lot quicker. But I haven't figured that out yet.
I wanted to ask you. I have a buddy who downloaded Krita and
Mhm.
has been using it, and the files like he can't figure out what's going on, but he's working at a relatively normal size and resolution, and the files are enormous, like impossible to deal with, huge.
Okay, well, when let's see, I'll make a new one. Make sure that that when he does it, that the resolution, like when he does it, does he do it by pixels or by inches, or what does he do?
I think he does. I think he does inches. I think he's working on like the biggest he'll be working is 11 by 17, 300 DPI.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, that's the standard that I use. That's this right here. And I don't ever have any. And if I were to save it, let's see. I'm gonna open a thing that's at that size that I've already made, and look at how much memory it actually is to save. Because what he might have done is when he was setting it up, what he could have done is put the compression on really, really, really high. So when it saves it as it decompresses it as a save into a really huge format because it's compressing while he's working on it.
I see.
That may be a case he might be working on way too many layers.
Oh no, he had one layer going.
Just one layer? Okay.
Yeah, we were hanging out over Discord, and he was like, "Dude, my computer's like stopped moving," and I was like, "What in the world, dude?" But I told him I'd ask you.
All right, so this one is full color at that exact the 11 by 17 at 300 DPI, and this actually this says 14 layers, but it's actually like 6, and I think it was only 2 megabytes.
Wow. Yeah. What was how did you change the compression on that? I mean, is that in? If I can just Google it, I can Google it. You don't have to waste your time on it.
Yeah, I think it's in configure. This, if you go to settings and configure, there's a compression place where you can figure out, like, you can put the you can make it so that it what am I trying to say? So that in Photoshop, when you save it, it asks you for like qualities and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
You can adjust that. They're somewhere in here is pretty much the same thing. So I hear like there's this performance right here, and you can adjust. And like I'm barely using. I could actually boost this probably like a lot because my computer is could handle way more, but I would have to play around with it. I'm not gonna do it right now. So you're also your friend could just have a crappy computer.
He professionally codes, so I find that hard to believe, but it's also not his work computer, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, writing code isn't particularly intensive on your hardware.
Too true.
Too true. What he's doing.
He enjoys good quality technology, so I do find it a little bit like he's not working with like a 98,
right
PC.
Evan, what are you working on?
I am doing this I'm doing something that kind of serves two purposes. So one is we have a little series that we launched called Art versus Apocalypse, which I might have talked about before, but it's basically an anthology series for just anyone sort of thoughts or reactions about what's happening with COVID and quarantine and that experience. So just trying to create a place for comments and voices around what that is and all the various ways that it is. And so I am also making one of those. And so the finished stuff looks like this. But basically, it's also something I'm using as a way to essentially demonstrate the whole process of how we put this stuff together for Macroverse. So it'll both be an episode on the platform, and then it'll turn into a handful of videos that kind of walk through the whole process of making an episode.
Oh, that's cool.
To be able to share that with people.
Yeah, multi-purpose.
But it's fun killing COVIDs. Yeah, and if anyone is using Procreate, there's equivalents in Photoshop and Clip Studio, but the thing I've recently started doing is using the just little animation tools to create multiple frames, and so it's both works really well for Macroverse, but also it's just kind of fun because you get to do stuff like this.
Oh wow.
So that'll be a little tap through sequence in the app, but it also just makes a fun little animation.
Oh man.
And then one other thing I'll say for anyone using Procreate, they have this for Photoshop too, but I have fallen in love with these brushes by this company called True Grit Texture Supply. So it's all this kind of like Spider-Verse style, kind of like stippling and cross-hatching and stuff. So like when you zoom in on what this stuff actually looks like, it's like all these like patterns and dot patterns that I just have kind of fallen in love with as a kind of technique for coloring and finishing stuff.
That's cool.
So this is the boring end part of it with the go wash your hands.
All right, and then we got Fuzzy. What you working on, Fuzzy? A collar. Oh, that's good.
Yes, working on the next episode of Origami Princess. A lot of fun. This one's gonna be a weird one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's gonna be a pseudo dream sequence that's gonna hopefully be fun to look at. I purposely didn't plan it, so just to see how weird I could get.
That's unusual because you like to script everything out.
Yes, I if you want to see my thumbnails, you can see like I've been checking them off, and they're all really, let's get rid of that stuff. They're all really detailed, and I've got notes and on top of notes, right? And then as you go through here, you're like, oh, that's all nice, and then it's just one note that says, "There you go." Be sure to do that. And I'm like,
I'm impressed.
So-
man.
I'm excited to see what I do, because I don't know what I'm going to do yet.
That's cool. I bet some good stuff will happen.
I hope so.
For the rest of you guys, I know, Jason, you kind of work Marvel style with yourself,
Mhm.
and then Fuzzy, you like to script things out. Apparently, what I just heard. How do the rest of you guys approach your own stories? Are you writing and then drawing? Are you laying stuff out and then figuring it out along the way? Like, what balance of that is where you approach that?
I do a million thumbnails and then I throw out the crappy ones and keep the good ones.
I make a spreadsheet with the text.
Nice. That's a game person.
It gives me an idea of how many word blocks of dialogue there'll be,
Right.
and like how many frames I'll need, and then I'll just do a rough version to scale of the page that I'm working on,
Mm-hmm.
and just keep doing iterations of that until it becomes the final piece. Actually,
Oh, that's cool.
so I kind of skip the thumbnailing and reflection part because I do it all like 100% scale,
Hmm.
which I'm not sure it's the most productive way of working, but
As long as it works for you.
yeah.
If it works for you, then it doesn't matter.
I mean, it's a little bit slow. That's the only thing, because like I'll just keep on doing versions of the same thing over and over and over again until it's like almost clean, and then I'll do the final line work. So it takes a while, but it works. It gets me there eventually.
It does work. Yeah.
Yeah, I've changed my technique and style and workflow almost every book I've made. You know, it's got to be fun for me, but it's also got to be kind of an experiment too. I think if I'm not experimenting, then I kind of get bored. So sometimes those experiments are long. Yeah, it's like a long procedure, and I'm fine with it being a long procedure to get to the finished product because it's a fun experiment, But then after you've the experience of doing it that way has kind of run its course, then I'm kind of bored and stuff, and I'll come up with a new way of doing it, Like that's why I've been doing all digital recently. It's a different way of working for me.
Mhm.
So, but I really do think I'm going to go back to more of a traditional approach for one of my next books after Phobos.
Ink on paper.
Yeah, I really love that. I love that process, and I love the end result as well.
The artist that makes Deadtown for us, like one of the things that I thought was really cool that he does is he's a lot of texture in his work. So he works all digital, but he creates everything analog to work with.
Yeah.
So like he'll sometimes send me like, oh, here's like the textures for the next episode, and it's just like all these crazy like ink splatters and different types of textures that are going to end up on the walls in a particular scene, or different types of blood splatter, and like it's like, oh, you're in the like forensic lab today, and then all that turns into comics. It's really cool.
That's neat. Yeah.
Yeah, I actually struggle more and more with drawing on paper. I think it's sort of a process thing, which for so long it was just sort of sketchbooking and random drawing, and never really drawing with much purpose when I was drawing on paper.
Mm-hmm.
So now I find it hard to actually just sit down and draw random things. Like if I draw, I prefer to be at my desk drawing something which I'll be using for the actual comic.
Yeah. I'm that way with anything anyway. Though I've never really gotten into sketchbooks because it's never really for a project. Just the sketch, for the sake of sketching, is never been a thing for me very much. I mean, when I was a little kid, maybe, but even when I look back at my old stuff, I was always drawing stories. Even if it was stick figure stories. Most of my little kid sketches are comic strips, or stories, or sequences, or something.
Yeah, you had a specific purpose in mind.
Yeah. And now it's pulling teeth to just do a drawing just for the sake of doing drawings. For me, I'm like, this isn't going to do anything for me.
I got the exact same thing.
I feel that way, except when I'm drawing with my kids, and then there's something about like looseness and like complete unattachment to that stuff that I'm like, man, how do I get this into like the other work? It's something kind of cool about it.
Yeah, that's true. Well, that has a different purpose. It does have a purpose.
Exactly.
Like my son has this story about dragons that he's been working on for a while now, and he's like read all the Wings of Fire books, which are 14 or 15 books, and they're all 300 pages. Like, he's just devours them. So now he's making his own dragons comic, and cool. He came to me the other day and he's like, "Hey, Dad, how would you draw this guy? I want to see you draw it." And so we sat down and I did a version of his dragon. He designed it really well. And so I didn't really stray from his design at all. It's just, I just redrew it, but the way I would draw it. And, and he was drawing it too at the same time. And
that's cool.
And that was fun, It felt like, there's a reason for this, Hopefully he'll get something out of this and enjoy it. Or it doesn't seem like he cared too much about it once I finished it. But I was like, oh, well, I don't know what he's thinking, but that was good. He's like, next time we'll do the other character. I'm like, all right.
Well, that's a good sign, right?
Yeah.
Like what was it when I was cutting hair? It was like you couldn't get a straight answer out of somebody if they liked your haircut or not, but they'd come back to you every time. So you're like, they must like something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm exactly that kind of client when I go to the hairdresser. I don't know what I want. Just do something. I don't know.
It's not that, like, the problem was never whether or not they hated it. It was just whether or not they told you that they hated it. Like, I couldn't handle the not knowing. You should say it. Just tell me in my face that you hate my haircut. That's fine. I will figure out what I did wrong and try not to do that again, But, drove me bonkers. Just like, I need you to tell me. I need you to tell me, or I will die.
Yeah, it's also very dangerous to upset a person holding scissors.
Yeah.
Good point.
Too true.
Don't upset your hairdresser. Moral of the story.
Very good point.
Mike, I'm gonna put you on screen for a little bit, Mike. No pressure.
No.
Just dazzle us.
Oh.
Full pressure.
No, I'm just reading what the topic is for tonight's D&Q. And it's exciting. They're doing
That's
it
right.
like a cooperative. You team up with another artist, and you have to swap art.
Whoa,
Yeah,
that's really cool and kind of scary.
yeah, it's terrifying, but it's extremely exciting.
Swap art in what way?
Huh?
Swap art in what way? Like
one makes like the like lays down the sketch and the breakdown, and then the other one finishes it.
That's
That's
Oh,
actually terrifying.
yeah.
It's like if it's your close friend, there's a little bit. You're like, oh, I know how they draw. I can help. But like, do you get to choose your teammate? That's scary. I don't know. I don't think I want to do that.
Yeah, that would make me nervous. Even more than
I'd ruin someone's art, right?
Well, technically, they're only laying down like the structure for it. So
Yeah, but some people's structure is better than others. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, so
and you're
it's
like,
your job to fix it.
you handed me a piece of gold and I
Oh,
ate it and turned it into poop. You know?
well,
Like,
that's on there.
Working in animation cleanup could help with getting over that.
that's true. Yeah.
yeah, thank you.
bless you.
So, Mike, at this point, how far ahead do you kind of know what the story is for SideQuest?
I kind of have an idea for the sort of first season or first book, but I don't have any of. I don't really have much of it written. I have ideas for gags and certain scenes, but none of it's actually confirmed yet. So right now they're sort of walking through sewers like you usually do in these sort of games, and heading to the Thieves Guild, and that will send them off on another mission, which will go wrong. And after that, that'll probably be the end of the first book, but that'll be a good bunch of pages really.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's quite a loose sort of structure. I mean, if I write things, then I'll end up always adding things. Anyways, it's kind of, I have sort of main scenes planned, but then I have to sort of fill them with traveling scenes in the middle because it's sort of about the sort of day-to-day adventure stuff. So it's like the most important stuff is the boring bits of the adventure, which we don't usually see.
Exactly.
So I can't just jump from big event to big event. There's a lot of it which is sort of just like actually getting to these different places and the conversation they have in the meantime.
Mm.
So what I'm basically saying is not much happens.
That's what I love about it.
Yeah. But we did talk about this last week. Even is that like, well, I'll get some action scenes in there soon.
Yeah. Well, it's just, I mean, part of what's fun about it is like it's so great when like, oh, spoiler alert, there's a mysterious, kind of cool, obviously more action oriented, character that shows up, and it's been fun up to that point. But then you're like, oh, what something cool's about to happen. Then it kind of does.
Yeah. Well, she'll come back soon.
Oh, so we know it's a she.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
No, I don't think there'll be any romance between them. That'd be too easy. But she's a bit more badass than the two main characters. So
that'll be in book 7 after lots of weights have been lifted. And
yeah. Well, I mean, typically one of the sort of storylines for a later date is the main character needs to find himself a sword because he doesn't actually have a sword yet, and that one of the missions that he goes on is to actually find a sword. So he goes through all sorts of different ways of trying to get himself a proper sword, and that sort of entitles all sorts of other adventures.
very cool. So actually, Jason, I don't want to take away from Mike, but if you come to me for just a second, I can also kind of show what some of the stuff looks like when it's finished.
Yes. And nicely laid out for them on the Macroverse.
Yes. So you're a couple episodes ahead of us at this point, but I think we're up to like 23 or 24 on the app right now.
Mm-hmm.
We've been I think you're generally putting them out weekly. We're generally putting them out weekly. It is a lot of fun. And what I think, for me has been a lot of fun kind of seeing the way that they adapt over to Macroverse is that, you have a kind of a style, and it's probably partly because of your background too, where there is kind of a little bit of a animated, kind of vibe to it. And I always love when that stuff works. It's like, it wasn't even intentional because you started this before we met, but but you get this kind of, cool kind of interactions between the characters that kind of feel like this evolving, kind of experience between them.
Yeah. But what's interesting about this platform is, which we talked about last week as well, is that, which I haven't actually been doing yet, is creating specifically more animated content.
Yeah.
Or sort of frame by frame content that could look more animated on the app. So I think moving forwards, I'll probably end up adding more images, more drawings for the app versions, so they become more animated, whereas then the print versions or the Instagram versions, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. We were talking about it. I think that your style in this story, one of the things we were talking about is, how fun it would be to kind of take an entire episode and essentially make it one kind of sequence. So it's like you really are tapping through kind of the animatic, essentially.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just.
You said Instagram version. You have it as a comic on Instagram too.
Yeah. So I mean, the main place I post is on Instagram.
Okay.
Which is what I was posting there before I met Eben. Sorry.
Eben.
And I'm still posting on there, just because, well, it's a nice place to post, but I have a bunch of sort of followers that have sort of been with me since the beginning.
Yeah.
Which I'm sort of would like to conclude this first book with them, just because they sort of showed quite a bit of support and at conventions and stuff. But then in terms of actual audience growth, I find that Instagram hasn't really been working in my favor for it.
Yeah.
So I'd like to sort of move on to more of a different model where side quest the comic will be more on Macroverse, and then I'll have more sort of side content on Instagram, like illustrations and sort of smaller episodes, things like that. Because I noticed the more flashy illustrations, which are a lot quicker consumed, work a lot better on Instagram than the comic does.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But I'd like to.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. I mean, it goes back to kind of a lot of our fundamental pieces around this stuff too. Is that it really is like, if you look at the Instagram version or the kind of what the print version will be compared to the Macroverse version, it's like it's the same story, obviously, but it's a very different way of consuming it. So, we think that, you'll get people that kind of want it in different ways in different places, but we think, we're kind of doing something with it that also enhances what you're doing with it, which is what we hope. So, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's a process, and I think we'll eventually get to something which will be really good, and I just hope people enjoy it, really.
It looks nice.
Yeah, I really, there's a little bit of like a Calvin and Hobbes vibe to it. There's, it's like a little bit of a Bone vibe to it. It's a lot of fun.
I don't know Bone, but I do know Calvin. Calvin and Hobbes is pretty much the only comic I grew up with.
Really?
You would love Bone. You gotta find Bone.
Oh, I've seen those visuals before. Yeah.
My son just read Bone. Because my dad had it, and he went over to his house and found it on a shelf. And the big fat edition that has all 1,300 pages or whatever. And he brought it home. He read it in like about a day, and he just was obsessed with it. It's cool.
Yeah, I was actually just heard an interview with Jeff Smith, who's the creator of that, and he was talking about that kind of single edition, the phone book version of the book. And Jason will probably relate to this, but like when he made that and printed it, and then had to kind of take it around to conventions and shipping like several thousand of these huge heavy books. And he said the first when they debuted it, they literally like the entire booth was made out of the graphic novels. Like they just stuck walls and as the background, and like and they're like, he and his wife apparently like kind of terrified of like, what if we don't sell these at the show? We'll have to ship them all back. And then they did actually pretty much sell out, but it was pretty funny.
Goodness.
Are we boring you, Fuzzy?
No, it's the lack of sleep, man. You guys are great.
We're helping you stay awake.
You are, actually.
Good.
And I'm kind of terrified of what it's going to be like when you're gone. Like, am I just going to knock out right after you?
Probably.
My little Cintiq remote is dead, and I'm trying to charge it. It's not working. All my buttons are...
Oh, that happened to me. I had to get a replacement.
Oh, that's lame. Because those things are expensive.
Yeah, I talked to like 3 Indian dudes, and I don't know why that was important. Didn't need to bring race into that. Anyway, I was like, hey, can I get some help? And he was like, do all these things, reset it, open up the back and everything, and none of that worked. So he was like, well, whatever, man, I'll replace it for you. So
what does the remote do?
What?
What does the remote do?
Replaced it.
It's a hotkeys remote, so basically you just it sits next to your.
Oh right, yeah.
And you just
instead of having it on the side of the Cintiq.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got the older model.
Yeah, that was it. That became a pretty irreplaceable part of my my system. So I was like, well, I have to find some alternative.
Yeah.
And those are.
I wish they would have just left the buttons on the Cintiq. This thing is causing me so much trouble.
It actually is pretty annoying. I don't know the benefit of this.
There's none. There's no reason.
Doesn't the very latest one have it back on the monitor? Have it back on the screen?
I hope so.
Does it? That would be fantastic. I thought it was cool at first, and like it took me about a week to realize that this was stupid. And
Agreed.
I just always use a keyboard. You guys are all like hot buttons and stuff. And I'm like my shift and my control and everything is just like burnt out. You can see like
Yeah.
where I'm worn off.
Yeah, I
it hurts
struggle
to
with
reach
it.
that far.
You know, I've always
Yeah.
just used the keyboard for my hotkeys.
It hurts to reach that far for me.
Really?
Like,
Huh.
my setup doesn't allow for me to, like, I have to at some points, but I hit the chair, and I've got this wooden kitchen chair that I sit in that just whatever, man. I need like a gamer chair or something.
Yeah. Well, you need to get what Jessica has. That little tiny thing that's just hotkeys that she has. That's what I'm contemplating on getting.
Yeah, but can you slap that on your Cintiq? Is what I'm
I'm
saying.
willing to bet that if you put like some sort of like a Velcro thing, you could
You know, I put
stick it
Velcro.
right onto the Cintiq if you really wanted it.
You know, I Velcroed my remote onto my Cintiq because the stupid thing won't stay on it.
Hmm?
It just
Really?
slides off. It's supposed to be this beautiful magnetic thing, and it just slides off as soon as I put it on. Wherever
That's
I put
been
it.
an issue for me. So it sounds like more like an issue with your Cintiq itself.
That sounds like a Jason issue.
Yeah, it's an issue.
I have that. I have that too. If I don't have it angled enough, like it's got to be
Yeah.
at an extreme angle.
You know what? I will say, because of the magnet thing, every time I put my phone up to use it as a reference, it like glitches out. So I can't, like, I have to hold my phone like out here while I draw, because if I put it too close, it like causes it to like lock up.
I hope Cintiq is watching this stream
Yeah.
because they don't need to ever
Wait,
do
Wacom.
that again.
Is it Wacom or Wacom? Who says what?
Wait, I say
was-
Wacom.
I say Wacom.
Wacom.
Okay, so I'm the weird one there. That's fine.
Whack 'em.
That's fine.
Whack-a-mole.
I don't know. I just thought it was Wacom, and I never met anybody else. And me and my friend were the only people who ever used them, and we said Wacom.
Whack 'em.
I mean, I think it's open to interpretation.
Actually, now that I think about it, I learned the pronunciation from him, and he
Default.
pronounces tons of stuff wrong.
Mm.
Well, there's your answer.
There we go. I shouldn't have.
Connecting the dots.
He says he's a genius, right? Like
Is he?
no, he
Sure.
truly is. Like he's a,
This endorsement had started off in a bad place, but go ahead.
no. The reason he pronounces so many things incorrectly is because he read so many books before everybody else, and he was learning words like on his own. So he would learn the pronunciation just by reading it. And so he would say things like iron. There's nothing saying that it should be said that way. If you understand English, you would assume it's iron. Right? So he says iron. And then, he would use new words around people and they would correct him and he'd be like, that's stupid. That's not how it should be. Like kernel and anything else like that, So I don't want to sell him short. He's not an idiot.
Just
Iron.
incapable of learning.
Oh.
What did you say? I missed it. Sorry.
Nothing.
Sorry, that-
Eben's
that was
no, Eben, no.
That's a little harsh. I said, he's not an idiot, but he just doesn't want to learn new things. He's
He is a smart man, and he just learned too quickly for anybody else.
He's just above. He's on another level.
It's the
Yes.
first time I ever hear of that sort of problem. Learning too quickly.
he's in the Iron age. That's right.
Well, whenever you cut corners, that's going to happen, right? Did you say in the Iron Age?
Yep.
BRB.
Have any of you guys seen that movie on Netflix? It's like a horror movie called Our House.
Our House. No.
Just watched it last night.
Is it good?
I enjoyed it. If you like kind of scarier stuff.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty good.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I will save you, hopefully, all a couple hours of your life by recommending that you do not watch Artemis Fowl.
Oh, please don't. Oh, God. Wow. That was a mess. Oh.
Which one is that on Netflix?
No, it's
It's
on Disney Plus. But,
Yeah.
oh, that was so sad.
Yeah.
Isn't that an older film?
No.
It's a new
it's
film. It's an older book series.
Yeah, that's the one. It's a
And
book.
Oh,
I actually quite enjoyed the books, but the
yeah.
movie is
What's wrong with it? Is it just
Everything.
well.
they
It actually feels strangely like a kind of the disaster studio film of times gone by, kind of from the pre-Marvel age, where there's obviously somebody going like, well, we can't do it the way it is in the book.
yeah.
And,
But they made so many changes that were totally unnecessary.
yeah,
Like, they won't even call Butler Butler.
yeah.
I was like, what's the point of that? They were like, he doesn't like to be called, don't call him Butler. And it's like, but that's all they called him in the book. They
Right.
never called him Dorian. It's like,
Well,
what's the point of that?
They also kind of did like a weird mashup of like different parts of the story from different books, which is sort of a odd way to try to start your franchise.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I was like, no, why would they save the dad? No. Yeah. And why didn't you just do that in the first place? Before, like when they first got the thing, because they found it so easily, like there it is. And it's just like, she could have done that right at the beginning,
yeah.
and
And
then it'd been like, okay, yeah, whatever. There's
Yeah.
the movie.
I mean, fundamentally, like just also like the hook of the books and what I thought was appealing about it, especially kind of came out kind of right after Harry Potter was such a huge, kind of phenomenon, is that the main character is kind of an anti-hero. Like,
He's supposed to be like a mastermind criminal, and then in this one, he's like, no, I'm not a criminal.
Yeah.
My dad's not a criminal.
Like he's intentionally, kind of knows that he's kind of doing, he ends up doing good, but he's, got a sort of sinister personality in an appealing way. And that's not in the movie at all. It's just like, it's not the character.
Evan, did you laugh really hard when it was just like, how do I know you? I can trust you. You don't. All right, we're friends now.
Yeah.
Literally, that's exactly like even that fast.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, if I was Kenneth Branagh, I would have been like, "Oh, this is my Alan Smithy film." Like, it's a little embarrassing for him.
That was the thing. Is it kind of started off interesting, the way they started it off when they were narrating through Mulch's perspective. He was the only good part of that.
Yeah.
Mulch.
What did I miss?
We were talking about Artemis Fowl.
Ooh.
We were talking about how bad the movie was.
Oh, that's too bad. Man, that really sucks. I like the books a lot.
Yeah, no.
It's a train wreck.
Yeah, it'll just make you want to like punch kittens.
Wow,
Is
that's
it-
pretty harsh.
It did not make me want to punch kittens. Just to be on the record with that.
Oh,
But,
that was only me.
Is it sorry, is it as bad as like the Avatar?
Oh yeah, it's up there. It's pretty bad.
That is some not great news.
But at least it's only like what, an hour and a half or something. It's not 2 hours of torture.
Yeah, it's pretty short.
Yeah.
That seems almost weirder.
Yeah.
Why would it be?
I mean, honestly, it really kind of feels like they just lost all kind of desire to make it along the way.
They were just like, how many? Or go ahead, Evan. Sorry.
Yeah, it's just kind of like we have to get this done and put it out. So I guess it's this.
Yeah, it's a shame so many films suffer from that sort of thing, where it has to be released, and then they end up just rushing it and ruining what they had in the first place.
The effects and everything were so good, though. It was nuts.
Yeah,
it was kind of crazy, like how good these effects were for this thing, you know, and even like Leprechaun and all the stuff they did, you know, like it actually looked like it could have been something really cool, you know. And I wasn't even angry about the casting other than Butler, which made no sense.
Wait, why? What happened with the Butler?
Well, I mean, they cast a different kind of person, and then they wouldn't call him Butler throughout the whole entire show.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well,
that's really interesting because I assume you're talking about they changed his pigment.
Yeah, we're stepping around this so hard.
Because last time we got canceled, so I just
but yeah, they did that, and he's not this. He's supposed to be this huge, hulking guy that's super intimidating. You know,
Right.
He wasn't that. That guy, actor was not that. He had the voice. That was a really epic voice that guy had, but it was sucked how little he got to use it.
It feels weird that they would have put that in a helping position.
Yeah.
You know, like, I mean, it makes sense that they wouldn't call him Butler.
Oh, you're right. Wow, I didn't even think about it that way.
Like, I would be scared to call him that at all. Who knows what kind of backlash that would have gotten.
Ugh. Well, I mean, can't be any worse than the total, you know, all their money they lost making it.
I don't know if it's lost yet.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Well, no, because it's the rules of streaming are different, right? Like
I don't know.
Sort of. It's gotta. I mean, for it to be successful for Disney Plus, it's gotta prove that it both attracts an audience and retains subscribers. And I do have a hard time seeing Artemis Fowl in its current incarnation doing either of those jobs very well.
But do you think it probably got some new subscribers just to check it out?
I mean, probably to check it out. Maybe I don't know. Like it's sitting at like single digits on Rotten Tomatoes as well. So the general consensus has been pretty poorly received.
I would say it's all about the views, right? Like,
Yeah.
even if it sucks, if you get enough people watching it, it doesn't matter if it sucks. You know?
Well, in some ways, but with a subscription service like that, it's, you know, views matter, but what matters more is people staying on your subscription. So, you know, if people come and check it out and hate it and then cancel Disney Plus, that really didn't do Disney many favors.
Especially like, you know, it's probably a lot of people jumped on for the you know, the free trial, you know.
Yeah.
And then they watch that and they're like, yeah, no, I'm not going to renew. So.
I mean, Disney's doing fine, but
Yeah. I don't expect them to be making any more Artemis Fowl movies.
But you know,
I wonder if we're
also-
going to have another
it's-
golden age of movies where it's just going to be us remaking all the really crappy remakes. You know what I mean? Like Airbender and that, and, you know, all these things that, you know, were really poorly adapted, because that happened with, you know, Lord of the Rings and whatnot. Like there's some really bad adaptations in movies, in movie form, you know.
Mhm.
and it's kind of interesting because there was a lot of them experimenting with animation and what they were trying to do. That weird one where they were doing live action with animation. Did
Yeah,
you ever see that one?
the rotoscopy.
Yeah,
where they trace over
yeah.
the live action.
Yeah, that was a weird one, but I mean, it took all that stuff before Peter Jackson, finally come through it and make something amazing, So I'm just wondering, like, if there's going to be some time down the line,
Are you implying that we had to be tortured so that we could get something good out of all of these?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah,
I
but
honestly
then
think
they did make the Hobbit though afterwards. So
Yeah, that was. Yeah, that was. I mean, that felt more like a cash grab than
pretty
anything.
animated Hobbits either.
when I went to go see the first one in the cinema, I had absolutely no idea that it was a trilogy. So it was like 3 hours into the movie. And I'm like, well, they haven't even gone halfway through the adventure yet. Like, what's going on here? It's like, how are they going to get through it?
By the way, it's over.
Yeah.
That was never meant to be a 9-hour opus.
But yeah, remakes of remakes. I don't know. Probably.
Well, it was a while of a lot of false starts with all the Marvel superhero type movies. There was a long period of time where those were just dud after dud. And then
Well, they were terrible. Yeah.
Didn't they make Spider-Man? I don't know how many times.
Yeah.
Like 4 times or something.
Yeah, but the
Since the
first
Maguire
series-
one.
Were kind of the first ones that like people that really worked, that kind of proved that you could take these characters and treat them kind of seriously, and
which is weird to say, looking back at it, just because of how poopy they were.
But that's what I'm saying, though. It took a lot of bad ones for us to eventually get a really good one. Because Iron Man was amazing. In my opinion. It was like, wow, I didn't know a superhero movie could be like this.
Yes.
And then The Dark Knight. I personally like The Dark Knight. I know a lot of people don't, but I personally liked it.
Who doesn't like The Dark Knight?
There's plenty of people that don't like The Dark Knight.
I
But
think The Dark Knight Rises was awful, but
really,
I like the Tim Burton.
yeah, it's just a whole movie based on 2 characters you can't understand. I don't know how they had conversations. I don't.
Yeah. By the way, Fuzzy, you're getting called out for being scared to go on D&Q tonight. So,
What?
Yeah, go check the Twitter. You're being called out.
That's not cool. Listen, I've got a lot of work to do. That's I can't.
I know. I'm just saying you're getting called out for being scared.
All right, fine. I'll just take it. I am a wiener, thank you, and I will accept the fact.
I'm scared too, Fuzzy. I won't do it.
It's not because it's gonna suck on both ends. Like, not only will it ruin someone else's drawing, but also they're gonna be like, "How can I work with this? What is this that you've handed me?" So I don't know. I'm not. It's hard to feel good enough to do such.
You'd be surprised. You could come up with some pretty interesting stuff.
We'll see. And by that I mean we won't see, because I'm not going to do it.
Yeah. Man, the chat is active. Kind of go back. You got questions?
Are there? I thought I already answered them. Let me look.
Wait, where?
Uh-huh. Steele asks, is your son slightly traumatized when the guard got cut in half in bone? No, he didn't seem to be traumatized by anything. I don't even remember that part. I'll have to look at it again.
Uh-oh.
Well, what happened?
A guard got cut in half in bone.
Oh,
Remember
no,
that?
I don't remember that. Nope.
I'll have to ask him about it. You remember that part?
He asks him and he just goes into like a state of shock.
No wonder he hasn't been talking lately. Question: are you talking about the fan edition? I don't know what we're talking about.
No,
The fan
we're
edition of
talking
Bone?
about the Pro Edition.
Oh, of drawn and quartered. I got it.
It really is.
All right, I think I got all the questions.
Was that it?
Yeah, the word balloon one. Yeah, that's it. I think.
Well, I'm sorry for misleading you.
Oh.
You can never trust me again. Sorry.
All I've been doing all day is working on cognitive drawing videos. My brain is so shot. This is a nice break.
Oh, cool thing is I got a new student who specifically wants to go into animation,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, I bought two of your books. Well, I'm going to give him the other one because I was like, man, this is perfect because Jason was an animator, and so he's all super excited about it.
That's cool. Yeah, I don't know if you saw, I got the actual finished book bound proof.
Wow.
It looks so nice.
Is that on the new channel? Why don't you plug that? You got a new channel, right?
Oh, yeah. So, anyone watching, here, actually, let me go grab the book so I can show it off real quick. Let's see. I'll do a solo layout. So this is a cognitive drawing book. It turned out so sweet.
Whoa, that's huge.
It's really big, and it's really nice. Nice paper. It's thick and kind of rough, so that you have a nice texture to it. Yeah, it has a little ribbon to mark your place. It has these fold-out flaps, so you can cover one side, so you don't, because it's all about covering up the reference. And then, so anyway, so that's the book. This is just the first hand-bound one, but they're being bound right now at the printers, and then we'll start shipping them out after that. And I actually started a cognitive drawing YouTube channel, so I'm gonna stop posting like cognitive drawing updates here, and so I'll just put it all on the channel here because the reason people have asked me why Jason, and I'm just I thought I explained it, but it's because I don't want people like teachers and random people and homeschooler moms to search cognitive drawing and then just come to my channel that has a bunch of random videos. So I want it to be very specific. So anyway, that's the reason why I'm starting the other channel. And that's also where I'm uploading the videos. They'll be only accessible to people who have specific links for them though. But as I move forward, like if I launch other campaigns, it'll be over there specifically for cognitive drawing. So that's that.
Cool.
Head on over to cognitive drawing. I should put a link somewhere. I need to find it first. Yeah, let me find a link. All right, I just posted a link to the Cognitive Drawing YouTube channel in the comments. So if anyone's interested, check it out. Or if you want to follow the progress of anything, any updates, because yeah, I'm gonna not post any more on this channel. In fact, I'm taking down old cognitive drawing videos from this channel and just putting it there so that any searches go there. So hopefully. I'm sure it's still tied to me, so people still come to me probably. We are focused today.
What else have people been watching or enjoying recently?
I just finished.
Go ahead.
I just finished Marco Polo yesterday.
Oh, how was that?
Really good, actually. But they never finished the series though, which is a shame.
Mm-hmm.
But I found it pretty good.
List for a long time, but I've never.
It's a little bit melodramatic at times, but production's really good.
Mm-hmm.
And you get sucked into the story, and the characters are really cool as well. So, a lot of good things.
Cool.
Otherwise, I think probably one of my favorite shows out there is Norsemen, Scandinavian thing about Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
It's got very sort of flat humor, a little bit like SideQuest. I think that's probably why I like it.
Is it also Netflix?
Yeah, it's also Netflix. Yeah, I think they got 2 seasons out now. I find it's pretty funny. It's quite peculiar.
Oh, I think I have seen that. It is comedic, isn't it? As well.
Yeah. But it's like punchlines which sort of fall short.
Mhm.
I think that's probably why I like it.
Welcome, Nolan.
Hey guys. So can you start over from the top? Just need to get caught up.
Well, there was a lot of silence, and then there was a lot more silence. All right, you're caught up.
And bad shows and good shows, and
I'm trying to think of if we said anything racy that we can.
oh, we did, but we just don't do that again.
Does it have to do with Fuzzy
No.
and his drawings of nether regions?
Oh no, actually, it hasn't been brought up yet.
Come on. Doesn't gotta go there every time, you know.
It's low hanging fruit.
Leave something to be desired for the viewers here.
It's like putting into a funnel. It's just too easy. Are we talking about shows and stuff that we've been consuming?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I just signed up for HBO, and I'm curious as whether or not I should start Westworld.
It's
Should I or should I not?
first season is really interesting, but second season falls apart. I did
Yeah.
have the third season.
I'm caught up on it. It's fine. Everything for me falls into one of two categories. It's like, is it actually something I'm going to pay attention to, or is it something I'm going to have kind of on while I'm doing other stuff? So it's become one that's on while I'm doing other stuff.
Yeah, which is funny because it started out being one which you had to be really concentrated to get everything out of it.
Yes,
Mhm.
exactly.
Says a lot about the direction it's taken.
When did it go all that though? It's like it's this really deep, mystery kind of deal in the first season. The second season is just like some action, and then some mindless action, and then some more mindless action. Nothing really happens.
It felt like they were trying to make it more complicated than it should be.
Mhm.
Because the first one had a pretty good twist in it, and it sort of felt like they were trying to achieve the same thing by making it more complex and deep in a way. But I think it sort of fell
Remember
short.
that? All I was like, okay, now there's military, and now there's these people, and there are those people, and this guy's supposed to be a thing, and that's it.
And now they're in Japan.
So silly.
Like, do I want
But I
to spend the time
The
to
first
invest?
season-
Oh.
I'd say the first season is worth watching, and then kind of see how it feels to you from there.
Just let it end there because it actually feels like it ends.
Yeah,
First season feels like it feels like it wasn't meant to have more seasons, but they saw the success and they were like, well, we got to make more money.
Mhm. Well, it was based on a book, so I imagine the book probably ended somewhere about there as well. So
Yeah.
I think.
It feels that way.
Crichton. The name of the author.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I've gotten really focused and I'm only like half listening, so if I'm just like saying some nonsense words, then ignore me.
Pineapple. Huh? Oh.
Michael Crichton.
I run.
All right.
yeah.
I didn't mean for that to turn into any spoilers, just in case for anybody listening in.
You have been spoiled.
We didn't spoil anything, did we?
You said the military gets involved. You go to Japan. I mean, I feel like
That's the bad season that doesn't matter though. So it's like we didn't spoil the good things.
you said there was a twist in season 1. That's not really anything.
Everybody knows that there's a twist, but they don't know what the twist is. I don't think we did anything, Fuzzy.
But it was a close call though.
I've never seen it, so I wouldn't know. I'm just telling you as a non-viewer what I heard and what I internalized and will forever be with me.
Yep.
And when I go,
So someone's gonna be like, "Have you ever seen Westworld?" And be like, "Yeah, it's got the military, and they go to Japan."
oh, so you have seen it?
Favorite show?
Especially the military and the part where they go to Japan.
Really go to Japan? Dope.
Well, that was set in the West. No, but they go to Japan.
You didn't think it went off the rails a little bit there? Well, yeah, but Japan.
It's like, what's cooler than cowboys? Samurai.
Yeah.
Well, they've been. I mean, that actually doesn't sound all that weird to me. They've been constantly shown as being like very similar to one another.
Yeah, right.
Cowboys and samurai?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of
Okay.
similar
Was that
trips. I mean,
Magnificent?
Magnificent Seven is literally the Seven Samurais.
You know what would also be cool is Cowboys and Aliens. Oh wait,
Oh yeah, that one. Do we have to go there? Do we have to?
What's that show about?
It's a movie.
That's a joke. It's a joke.
Oh.
I can tell you, it's not about cowboys and aliens.
What do you mean?
That's to throw you off. You name it something and it has nothing to do with that.
Well,
that's kind of like the
that's,
movie. That was like
Sorry?
the movie Drive, where it's like you're going into it expecting something like Baby Driver, and then it's like, what is this?
Mhm.
I just remember Cowboys and Aliens. The trailer had had the "Gold on the Ceiling" song, and then at one point in the movie, there was gold on a ceiling, and I was like, "Is this?" Did they just look? Did they like skim through the movie and go, "Yeah, that's good. Put that in the movie, or put that in the trailer. Like, pick that song. That's great."
Yeah.
And that's
exactly
kind of
what they do.
that attitude is kind of what the whole movie felt like. Like, yeah, that's fine. Whatever. Sure.
Yeah.
You know,
Make it work, Scotty.
they gave up halfway.
Yeah, but he can make that movie because he made Iron Man. He gets a free pass for the rest of his life.
and the Mandalorian.
And the Mandalorian, yeah. Which I don't know if you guys have been seeing the behind the scenes stuff on the Mandalorian, but that's actually really cool.
Yeah. The technology they're using is epic.
Yeah.
That was actually the only cool part of Cowboys versus Aliens, or Cowboys and Aliens, whatever. I don't know if anybody saw the special effects stuff that they did on that. It was like watching the props and everything. It was like, oh, cool. How come the movie turned out so bad?
Nerd. Just kidding.
No, it's fine. Whatever. Another thing I got to internalize.
Poor Fuzzy. It is like any chance that he can do no right. Just throw him under that bus.
This is the sacrifice I made when I decided to come on.
We just love you so much that we have to put you down.
Jeez, man, am I your dog? You sick dog.
No,
Honey,
no.
he's suffering.
Oh no. Oh no. Hi, Mike. I feel like Mike's here and he's like, what's going on with these guys? Because weird.
No, I've heard some of the streams over the past few weeks.
Okay.
I'm a little bit familiar with how you take it out on Fuzzy.
Okay.
Nice to meet you, Mike, by the way.
Sorry?
Nice to meet you.
Oh, yeah, likewise.
I overheard a little bit about your intro. I couldn't jump on, though, because I was trying to build a cardboard train for my son.
Nice. Did it come out well good?
It looks pretty terrible. Not quite right yet. I'm working on the trying to figure out how to cut cardboard and assemble it together without, cutting my son. He's always like trying to reach in. He's like, let me grab that. Let me grab that.
Always
How old's your
preferable.
But sometimes you gotta learn lessons through experience and pain.
How old's your son?
He just turned 3.
That's a fun age.
Yeah.
That's whole life ahead of him.
Assuming his father doesn't cut him with a box cutter.
Surprisingly, he actually listens when it comes to that. Other things is like not so much. It's like but I think we've yelled at him. We yelled at him enough times that he's starting to get the picture of like, oh, I shouldn't touch the stove, or I shouldn't, shouldn't climb up here. Little daredevil. How old are your guys' kids, by the way?
I've got a 1-year-old boy.
Oh man. Okay.
Just learned how to blow kisses.
Oh.
Except his version is
Nice.
which is in my opinion far better than anything regular. It's always violent, and it gets more and more violent as time goes on.
Yeah.
Very aggressive bunch, us guys.
My son used to kiss like a lamprey. He'd be like, ah, ooh, but never like purse his lips. So he just, he just sucked onto your cheek like a eel. Very adorable, though. I miss that. I definitely miss that stage. I miss all the stages.
What is the word that they made up that you'll always remember? Excluding Fuzzy, because Fuzzy's his.
Obviously, he's not talking yet, so I have no
Yeah.
answer for that.
Yeah, but my daughter used to say oppitus instead of octopus.
Popatus?
Oppitus. She'd be like, the oppitus. And it was the best thing in the world. I never wanted her to stop saying it. And then one day she came up to me and was like, look at my octopus. And I was like, no!
My son used to call jumps that cars would go off of jump rack. I don't know why it's a jump rack, but it's a jump rack. And then he taught it to my other son. And so they're all playing. Yeah, you get the jump rack. And other kids would play with them. They'd be like, what are you talking about? And they're like, a jump rack.
Mhm.
Obviously.
Duh.
And I just never corrected them. Finally, eventually, they realized it was wrong. Like, there's no such thing as a jump rack.
At some point, you have to correct your kids, right? Like, I don't want to, obviously not like when they're little, but like at one point you have to be like, okay, I can't let you be around other kids talking like that. Right? Like, am I
Like Iron?
exactly?
Uh,
I don't know. I think you'd be surprised, like what parents don't correct kids on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's where it kind of gets. a
I'm
little
not
bit-
asking whether they have. I'm asking whether you should, right? Like,
Yes,
The
you
thing
should.
is, your kid will figure it out
They
eventually.
usually figure it out. School does a lot. If kids ever go back to school,
Yeah.
does a lot to equalize that.
I'm just saying, when my wife and I first met, there were a lot of words that were that she said that weren't quite right, and
A lot of-
I spent a lot of time making fun of her.
Oh,
And
yeah, nice guy.
recently, I thought about what it would be for my kid to do that, and I was like, I don't want my kid to get made fun of.
By anyone but you.
Yeah, no, I don't want to make fun of him either. Yeah, so I don't know. Is
Well, here's the deal with jump rack. We corrected my son over and over again, and he's so hard headed he doesn't want to listen. And so then when he taught it to our other son, and they're playing one day, and it's like, why are you guys still using that word? And so finally, it's just like, all right, well, that's what it is. And then I finally told my youngest son, that's not a word. Diesel just made that up, okay? And he's like, what? No, it's a real word. And I'm like, no, it's not. It's not a real word. And then after my youngest son learned it's not a real word, then my oldest finally was like, okay, I'm not going to use it anymore. So, but he didn't want to not use it. It was so after so many corrections, you just go, okay, whatever. It's your word. You deal with it.
Wait, so Fuzzy, with your wife, like, are you guys from born in the same area? Do you guys grow up in the same area?
we relatively grew up in the same area. I had, well, no, not really, huh? She she was 2 when she moved from Texas to Central Illinois, and I was 12 when I moved from Chicago to Central Illinois. So it's not like crazy different,
Okay.
right? But there's stuff that it's not regional. She just said it wrong. Like museum, she said museum. And I was like, that's not right? Like that's like, what is that? Why are you saying it like that? And she's like, what do you mean? And I was like, it's a museum. That's even how it's spelled. Like, why are you? And apparently her parents just never corrected them. So her and her sister both say it that way.
So if you don't correct your kid, they say things wrong.
Well
Okay.
into their 20s, apparently. Which, that seems crazy to me. Like, I would not let my kid get to the age of 25 and say something like a baby talk,
Baby talk's a real word.
Why are they 25 and not met anybody else other than you?
They were homeschooled. They were homeschooled. That's... Yeah. Well, they weren't. She wasn't 25 when I met her. She was... Oh my gosh, she was 17.
There you go. Better numbers.
Yeah, that's fine. I also didn't notice, we never ran into the situation where she would say the word museum until she was 19 or something. So I don't know.
I hope your wife watches this later and is like, you sold me out.
She doesn't watch these.
You sold me out.
I tried to get her to watch them. She doesn't watch them, so whatever. She's watched a couple at the beginning, and then she's like, whatever, you guys are the same every time. So.
Oh, you're the same every time. Jeez.
Boring.
Like, you people.
I wonder if it's more like, I see you all day. Why would I want to watch a...
Sorry.
Oh.
My ringtone of heavy metal.
Heavy metal. All right, we're gonna shut this down pretty soon. Actually, I can't believe it. It's already almost 2 hours. Dang. 10 minutes. So why don't we talk about what you guys are working on and where everyone can find you. And we'll answer any questions in the chat while we're at it. So if you guys have any questions in the chat room, write question in all caps. If you have it to a specific person, let us know too.
Just say, notice me.
Here's a link.
Senpai.
Let me put a link to SideQuest in the chat. And we'll start with Mike. So Mike, tell us a little bit about you, your comic, where we can find it, and why it's worthy of subscribing.
My fantasy comic is about the day-to-day life of being on adventures. So lots of conversations and humor. You can follow. The main place to follow it is on Instagram at Mike Cranim. So MikeCranim, as in Mike CR animation.
Okay.
And the website is sidequeststories.com. That's another place to see it. Otherwise, you can find it on Macroverse.
Weird.
For the animated version.
Very cool.
I'll start calling it the animated version.
Very cool. How long have you been doing the webcomic version before you got picked up by Macroverse?
I think I'd only been releasing the comic for about 2 or 3 months.
Okay. On
Not
Instagram.
that long, actually.
Yeah.
I think we found it pretty early. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I spent a year working on the comic pages, and then once I started releasing the actual comic, then I was contacted pretty quickly.
That's cool.
And I'd also heard you talk about Macroverse as well beforehand.
Oh, okay.
So I was following your YouTube channel.
Yeah.
And you'd been talking a bit about it.
That's
It was all
cool.
mysterious back then. It's like, oh, who are these people in LA making a new app? And now I can say to my local friends, I gotta call my friend in LA. It's very fancy to be able to say that here, that you know someone in LA.
Now you know a couple people.
Yeah.
And we know someone in Switzerland, so that's
right.
cool for us.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so yeah, I got the link to it in the Macroverse version of it in the chat, so you can check that out. Let's see.
Can I post things in the chat as well? Does that work?
I don't think you can. If you post it in the private chat, then I can transfer it over.
I'll just put a link to my Instagram as well.
Okay. We have a question here. Is there a spot where I can follow all y'all's social media accounts? Well, we're going through that right now, so we'll try to make sure you can find them before the
Tell you
show.
what. Yeah, I will. Put that in the chat.
So who's ready? Are you ready, Fuzzy?
I'm getting ready.
Getting ready? Nolan, do you want to put your screen on if you want to share any links or anything?
Yeah, let me just pull this up right here.
So that it's easy for people to find.
Give me a second here. I'm fully prepared. All right. So this is my.
Oh, wait. Okay. Evan, not Evan.
Yeah.
Nolan.
This is my website, punchingpandas.com. I am an independent illustrator, and I have works based upon my Fat Panda character, Pac the Panda, and I've written a couple books. The Panda is Fat, and also the sequel, The Panda is Still Fat, that you see here. There's also YouTube animations, iMessage stickers, and then there's also a shop too where you can get things like prints and as soon as the webpage loads, okay, there you go. Coloring books, plushies, all the good stuff. So that's my deal. That's my spiel.
Yeah. Very good. All right. Fuzzy. Oh wait,
Yes.
everybody! I just put Mike's Instagram into the chat as well. So there you go. And then we got Fuzzy.
All right. So today I was working on my Origami Princess and the Rain Soaked Jazz Man. It's the thing I've got up for the submission I have up for the Webtoons contest that's going on right now. So if you can check that out, I really appreciate it. Got a lot of hard work on these recent episodes to up the art if I can, make it even better than it has been. And any support helps. I really appreciate it. And you can check out my other work, which is Dead Air on Webtoons as well.
That looks so good.
Thank you.
All right, and then we got who else? Zachary,
Ugh.
you are on screen.
You have my thingy?
Wait, let me get your. I forgot. I totally forgot. Well, there's this. Here, let me get the other thing. There we go.
Yeah, that thing.
There's all
All
your
those
information.
things at the bottom. Those things.
All those things scrolling across the bottom is how you can find Zach.
Yeah, and I am working on Golma. Doing right now, I'm actually doing it's kind of like an Ashcan. I added some pages to the intro to kind of explain some things because I'm waiting on some things, but I said, well, why not just make more story while I'm waiting? So these pages are new, completely like wasn't planned at all. So more pages for the book.
Nice. Nice. Looks really good.
It's really good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Can't wait to get it. When do you think the ship date is going to be for Golma?
I was hoping to already have it done, to be honest, but I'm a horrible manager. I have a horrible time trying to tell people to get into gear. So I'm apologizing to all my backers by making more content for them. So,
Cool.
but I really would like to get it printed and start shipping by the middle of next month, like completely out to everybody by the middle of next month.
Okay. Nice.
So
Very nice. All right. Hey, Nolan, what are you working? Can I show your screen again to see so everyone can see it?
Oh, sure.
Is it client work or something?
No, it's a private. It's for a friend. So working on this party that they have where it's like it's kind of like this family get together. So they have I have to redraw a couple of these poses. That's why you see that thing here. So trying to add the final. Well, not the final. I'm just kind of working like different stages, and I'm trying to make everything work. It's like this big giant math problem for me.
Yeah, man, that looks hard.
They specified everything from like having Smash Brothers on the screen to people playing nerds and person knocking over kid knocking over a pile of mahjong tiles and stuff. So
man,
pretty.
That's a ton of work.
It's on
Really cool.
ukulele.
Cheetos. Yeah.
That was specified, flaming hot Cheetos. So we're very with all these notes.
Yeah. Wow. Looks great though.
Super cool.
So I do offer these, but if anyone's interested, please email me at there's a contact form on my website, or you can go email Nolan at punchingpandas.com. Nolan spelled with an E, Nolen, because there's an actual artist named Nolan Lee who's I've talked to, but we are not the same person.
Do you take any of his work without people knowing it? They think you're the other guy? How do you think I got this job? No. All right. Well, cool. It looks great, Nolan. And then we got Evan. Oh, and Evan just has me on his screen.
Yep. So I think working on a bunch of stuff, but obviously, anyone that hasn't yet seen what we're doing with Macroverse, we'd love for you to check it out on the app stores, Google Play and iOS. This is what it looks like. And then we also just put up the next episode of Remind as well. So right now, through the end of the month, to celebrate the Eisner nomination, all of Remind is free to read right now. So if you haven't seen that, it's a good way to kind of jump into it. And there'll be another episode coming out this week, and then the last couple in what we're calling season 1 next week, and then we'll just be rolling on from there. So now is a great time to jump in and read that. And then to put everyone on the spot, who on the stream has already voted for Remind or the Eisner Award?
Me. Can I vote for myself? I've voted.
Yeah, absolutely vote for yourself.
Just did that this afternoon.
Good. So anyone who is remotely professionally involved in comics, and that does include self-publishing, webcomics, webtoons, any capacity of making comics, you are eligible to vote for the Eisner Award. Those votes have to be in by tomorrow. So please go vote for Remind. We'd like to see Jason not just be awesomely nominated, but also win this thing. So let's make that happen. So that is
link on.
Oh yeah,
Eisner vote
again, Evan. Do you know the link?
It is. It's EisnerVote.com.
Okay, let me post it in the comments.
So yeah, and anyone remotely involved in comics is eligible to vote for it. It's the last category, so feel free to vote for everything else, but make your way to the bottom. I think you got to go through a couple of screens to get there, but cast your vote for Remind, and let's see if we can't get Jason a little statue.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be sweet. My own little idol in my office.
And then you can also see what we're up to at Macroverse ongoingly. Instagram is our most active social channel, so that's at Macroverse Media on Instagram. And then if you're interested in kind of some of the other work that I am doing, both Macroverse related and some not Macroverse related, my personal Instagram is Ebenverse, so EbenVerse.
All right. I posted the Macroverse Instagram on the chat. I posted the voting place for Eisner's in the chat. All right. Thanks, Eben.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. And then we got myself. I went through all you guys, right? Okay. You got myself. I'm just working still on Phobos. Yep. That's what I'm doing. And you can also get you can also go to, let me get myself full screen. You can also still order Cognitive Drawing. It's on Indiegogo right now until the books ship. You can go to Gumroad to get a digital version as well. Yeah, so there's that. I have a YouTube channel for this as well, so check that out. All right, guys. Well, thank you for hanging out with me this time, and we'll be back next Wednesday again with another stream.
Last time.
Last time, at least for a while. So, but I'm sure somebody will continue this. If I'm not posting it, I'm sure someone will step up. So, any takers in this?
We'll decide next week.
Okay.
Last minute is my way of handling things.
Yeah. All right, guys. We will see you next time. Thanks so much for hanging out.
Thanks, Jason. Thanks, Mike.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you guys.